What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Soft Light Podcast. I'm your girl, Bruce Boswell. Tonight, we're going to have a co-host, Kerry. He's a fellow YouTuber, a part of the Thriving Tribesmen platform, where he talks about sexless marriages and how to help others. Um, Men get the groove back in their households in the bedroom with their wives to maintain healthy marriages and relationships, physically and mentally. He puts out great content. Um, while I'm waiting for him to come, just want to say we always have the link in the comments for you to join us on Center Stage. So if you haven't ever joined the platform, you're always welcome to come on and be a part of the conversation. Tonight's conversation will focus in on Black men and their relationship with Black women, their unhealthy relationship with Black women. And why is that? Why are men so negative or unhealthy towards women? Is it because they're on the down low, the DL, and they have an internal struggle with themselves? What's really going on is really the conversation that we want to have. I know a lot of times um, we don't necessarily know what others are going through, but sometimes when you have the conversation, you just might get to the bottom line of the root cause, um, and be able to resolve some of these unhealthy traits and issues that so many of us seem to be struggling with nowadays. And I think it's safe to say that don't none of us deserve to live that way. We want people to have healthy lives. That's why I'm out here. I want you to gain knowledge and survive by living right. I know I've been spending a lot of time on TikTok lately. I like them. So the young people, they definitely different, but I like to engage them and learn some things from them and offer up the wisdom that I have at this point in my life. Um, a lot of these young people, they want a relationship. People in general, it ain't got no age, ain't no discrimination. A lot of people want to be part of relationships, and they don't know how to go about it, not in a healthy manner anyway. And you have people that hold on to unhealthy relationships just far too long. And I don't know if people understand that it's okay to be alone. A lot of people running from themselves. A lot of people don't want to get well. But I'm here to tell you that there's a better way than staying in these unhealthy relationships and engaging toxic people. And why are so many Black men mad at Black women? Is it their upbringing? They have a unhealthy relationship with their mother. Is it they have a unhealthy relationship with themselves? They fighting internally, you know, not doing the work to get well. There's so many avenues to be explored. Um, we just don't understand what's going on anymore. But I want to be a voice of reason to help people kind of reassess where they at in their lives and encourage them to develop tools, skills, and knowledge to navigate this life right. There was someone in the comments section. So this, excuse me, this topic tonight is really derived from a post I made in the community section of this channel, um, where I posted Richard Pryor's son's wedding picture with his new husband, and a YouTuber commented. I don't know if they're a follower on this platform or not. Hope you are. If you're not, uh, said that they were glad that uh, men were starting to be, well, in this situation, Richard Pryor's son was being authentic and transparent with his relationship, and maybe more black men could come forward and be as authentic and transparent as Richard Pryor's son. Um, and Curie, my fellow content creator here on YouTube, Thriving Tribesman, if you don't follow him, please make sure you do. Uh, Asked her the question, why do she feel, what is her thoughts about the black man in America and his relationship with women? And that kind of derived at this conversation here tonight. What is the relationship with African American men and black women? When we look at all this content being spewed out here, all this battle and negativity, we would be able to say it. Well, it don't seem like it's that much of a great relationship, does it? Um, Seems like there's a lot of animosity, a lot of unhealthy that's happening, and nobody is healing from any of this. And a lot of times when you hear these conversations that these men have, in regards to their thoughts and feelings about the black woman, um, they might talk about their mothers, but a lot of times they talk about, let's be honest, excuse me a second, they talk about their relationship, the personalities and the attitudes of black women. They think that black women are self-centered or selfish or aggressive. And the reality is, um, a lot of these people are that way. I'm not saying that they don't have some valid points. It ain't about a race. For me, it's about individuals. We got a lot of selfish people across the spectrum. And when you have such a large group of black men that are hateful and resentful of black women, are you resenting them? Or is it an internal struggle within yourself? Now that the LGBTQ community is, established or continuing to be established, you see a lot of these men uh, that's in the transgender, community, whatever letter they fall under. A lot of them have a distaste for women, and is that because they envious, resentful because they wasn't born a woman? I don't know, but what I do know is that we need to get to the root cause of all this unhealthy interaction and opinions that black men have towards black women. Now, and I'm not saying that black women don't have it towards the men as well. We know that to be true. But tonight we are focusing on the black male. Why does he treat and have such a negative view of black women? Now, it is true, in my opinion, as a black woman myself, born in America, your relationship with your family forms your character initially. But there comes a point in your life that you should be educated and mature enough to decide who you want to be and to show up in this world. And if you have a lot of issues and pains that you need to resolve, then there are uh, people, places, and things in place to help you to overcome, understand, and overcome, your pains. But if you sit there and you let them fester and grow, then you own that. I don't believe at some point other people can control you when you have all these resources and avenues out here today That's not to say that there isn't some wounds that will always be with you. You know, sometimes certain things we don't necessarily uh, overcome. We learn how to cope with them and manage them properly so that we can move on. I have things in my life that I am managing. So I know this to be true, just because life happens to all of us at some point. It is a part of existing and living. So I want to really ask Black men specifically to take a moment, take time out, and not to look at their families and what has happened to them and how they feel about their mothers or if they had absent fathers, but ask themselves the question, do I want to live this way? Do I want to live in pain? Because I tell you this, and I know this to be true. Um, Somebody that's out, and we see it so much out here on these platforms, somebody that's so negative, um, and always speaking down about another group of people, it really is a reflection upon you. And it really is showing what is dwelling within you, what is living inside your mind and your body. And it is hurting you far more than it is hurting anyone else. All these hateful platforms, you can go on some of these platforms and these men, they want to act like they got PhDs about women, and they ain't even finished high school, or if they did, that's about it. But they got all this information about women, and really they don't. What you have is a reflection of yourself. And people become so self-centered and consumed that they don't understand this and they don't see anything else. All they see and know is, I got something to say and it's about you, and I want everybody to hear it, and this is the law and rule of life, and it's just not true. There's so many people out here that are emotionally unwell. um And it's just a shame. It is a shame. Well, welcome in, Angelita. I didn't know you was. I didn't see your comment. Angelita said, "I believe it's a spirit of Antichrist. The word says he will not desire women." You know what? I believe there's a lot of demonic things going on too, Angelita. And you don't have to, but I always pin the link if you ever want to come on stage and live and talk. But it's up to you. Just to letting you know, in the comments, fine too. Um, I was talking to a friend the other day. It's ironic that you said this, and I was telling him, because I spend a little time over there on TikTok, right, trying to get them young people attention. And what I know to be true, like I was telling a friend of mine, I said, a lot of them young people over there talk about demonic spirits, and things of that nature. I believe it is going on. I believe a lot of people are possessed with that. And as a Black woman specifically, and I don't know if it's because of the algorithms or what have you, but what I do know is it seems like it's a lot of Black men. I think my co-host is here. Hold on a second, Angelita. Oh, Angel, hold on. Let me see.
It's me. Hi.
All right. I thought you was somebody else. How you doing?
I'm good. We finally get to meet. Oh my
I
goodness.
know, right? It's good to let me change the layout. There we go.
Okay. I,
There
I
we
look
go.
a hot mess.
Not
Forgive
more than
me.
me. Nice to finally meet you, friend.
I know. It's awesome.
So tell me,
This is my first time. So
you say what now?
I said it's my first time being able. Well, yeah, I'm pretty shy. So
Well, don't be. We in this thing together.
okay.
So tell me, about what you was saying about the demonic spirits.
Oh, I just believe that. it would be the case because the word says that um he would not desire women, so there's an attack on women. And why, you were saying earlier that, why is the man attacking the woman or the black woman? I'm not black,
Right.
so I can't speak on it.
Mhm. I
But
think women are being attacked, but I definitely do. So tell me, not being black, that's a good question. Do you think there's attack on black women, or do you think there's attack on women in general?
I believe there's always been an attack on black women, always, because the strength, and then of course it's the melanin
Mm-hmm.
that is so powerful to the whole, population right now, and
Mm-hmm.
they're now finding out about it. So there's even a more of an attack to destroy. If you look up, what is it? Forget his name, but I could get it to you. I could text it to you.
Okay.
Um, he has a whole he has an independent lab where they actually did studies on them trying to destroy the black child through the womb,
Mm-hmm.
which is very sad. But there's just a power in it, and it's everything that the Father has blessed you all with. Um, Satan was trying to destroy that because it is for the whole world actually. Um,
There is definitely something going on within the black race.
Excuse me,
Is that you?
I apologize.
I know. I let somebody else came on. I thought that was awareness.
Okay,
It is.
Greetings. How are you? Welcome
Big
on.
bread.
Let me fix my hair over here. I'm looking mess.
Oh no, you're fine. So is that a you awareness?
Yes, I don't know if you can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, it was so I have a guy I met on here um some time ago. He's another content creator. Um how this was derived. So this conversation was brought about. I did a post on the community section last week sometime, I believe, where I posted that picture of Richard Pryor's son getting married to another guy.
Mhm.
And somebody had made a comment. Was that you awareness? That said that now hopefully more men will come out and be transparent as this guy.
Mm.
And
Excuse me.
Curie said asked the question about the commenters' thoughts on the black males, their thoughts on the black male in America and how they feel about black women, and that kind of just developed, wanting to go live and talk about it. I think that there is so I've been saying this before all this stuff happened, back when the pandemic first happened, right? And I got sick. I got a friend that I grew up with, and him and another guy used to write articles for Black Enterprise. And they've done other things like in communities. And I told him, I said, listen, yeah, I said, yeah, the conversation needs to be had, because it was another topic that went viral. But I reached out and I said, y'all need to have a conversation because y'all got influence over people about the black male and the black female, the relationship, because it's piss poor, and they were supposed to do it, but it just never developed. And here we are today. You see on these platforms, and it's just sad to me. It's like the nastier and the more aggressive and ignorant both sides can be toward each other, the more popular it is. And it's and no and it's like uh everybody on the outside, other races, they looking in and see it and it's entertaining, but those of us in the community, it's like we oblivious to it, and I just don't get it. And it's really hurting us. It's
Yeah.
it's hurting us. I look at these people and I see, how unhealthy they are emotionally, when it comes to maybe, even their parents. And it's like, how did we get here? I want to understand how we got here. Um,
I
and
think
Go ahead.
I think it's been systematic through all of the different institutions and media.
Mhm.
It's, I think it was an agenda put in place multiple years ago. You know, I was born in 65. So when I was born, I got to hear my grandmother, my great grandmother, and my mother talk about things. I didn't experience a lot that they had experienced, but I stood on their shoulders. And I think as families, as individuals in the Black community, because of our progress, in spite of the circumstances and the 400 years that we're technically should be behind, I think others saw how
Mhm.
great we were coming along, you
Mhm.
know, and they put a agenda and I think that agenda was manufactured in under a very popular president that we love, and people got comfortable.
Mhm.
And so the other agendas through, for instance, let's just take hip hop and rap.
Mhm.
Before we got into that, what do we have? We had R&B that talked about love, that was a part of the civil rights movement, that was advocates for us standing together, united. And then we moved to this different type of music where we have people that look like us. And this is just one of the institutions, you know, that I'm discussing.
Right.
But it was all about self-hatred. It was about destroying the female, disrespect for the female, the Black female, you know, fathers going out and making all these babies and not taking care of them. And then it was the self that led to more self hatred
Mhm.
as well as divisiveness. Because growing up as a 65 baby and living in the community that I lived in, if I walked outside and I wasn't doing something right, anyone can handle me.
Exactly.
And then when I walked to my grandmother's house after school, she handled me. And then my mom came in from work as a nurse at 3:30 and handled me. So it became a thing that I wasn't just accountable to myself, my family, I was accountable to my community. And
Me-
now it's about
Yeah.
selfishness, but they're missing the point of self-hatred and other agendas to put on alternative lifestyle, men on man loving,
Right.
women on women loving. And if you choose not to engage in that behavior, at least the message is then you shouldn't love and protect the Black woman.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So I
Absolutely.
think it's systematically been put in place at least the last 15 years. I'm not saying that discrimination and prejudice didn't exist. It has never gone away.
This is something totally different though that
Hmm.
day. This is taking a totally new uh lane and turn of its own.
Yes, absolutely. And they rewarded those. They
Mhm.
rewarded the artists and the people that people traditionally look up to put violence, abuse,
Mhm.
to take away the economics out of our community, you know. And I think it's really unfortunate and sad. At least that's my opinion on that. What do
I
you guys think?
I think you are well, Angel, go ahead. What you got any thoughts on that before I chime in? You're on mute, Angel.
I'm just sad about it because, like I said before, I believe it's a spirit of Antichrist
Mhm.
to attack, the women.
Mhm.
And you see it, them acting out with the different, especially in that community. I'm not going to say it, but they definitely. I just, I just kind of always have my guard up when I'm around certain, you
You
know.
got yeah. Yeah, I agree. And so what I'm learning, so I've been trying to spend more time engaging younger people. So I got a millennial son, 30, and my daughter, she's a Gen Z. She's 19. In September she'll be 20. So we three different generations, Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z. And my kids are 10 years apart. But there is a major difference. I mean, an extreme difference between my son's generation and how we interact in my daughter's generation. The mentality is two different worlds. And I go on TikTok. Well, I started to go on TikTok, number one, because I wanted to learn how to really understand my daughter better, because raising her was a lot different than my son. Uh, it was just the man, her mindset. And at first, when she was younger, I used to think that oh, it was something I was dealing with. But as I started to pay attention, I started to see the way that she was, and her thinking was a generation of people. It wasn't just my daughter, that was that way. And I I have some people that works with young people. um Hold on a second. Absolutely. Um, I my daughter, I could so let me start with that. So let me caution y'all. Y'all might have to keep me on track. So I also deal with post COVID long hauler, where it messes with my memory. And so sometimes I might pause or I get off track. So just heads up on that. Coming on these platforms helps me to get my mind back strong. Because that COVID, that's a whole nother subject. And I'm actually in a study group trying to understand what happened to us, because I'm the first person I know that had catch COVID. I caught it in 2020, March 2020. Almost took me out of here. So I'm dealing with that. But that's side note. My daughter, she is very entitled. And when I was raised, I will never be equal to my parents. Now I believe that everybody deserves respect, and respect is earned, but there is a thin line between, me and my daughter. Like, we are not equals because I'm her mother. I'm not better than her, but I have a different role than her. And what I see today, to your point, awareness, a lot these generations are act as though there are equals in the aspect, you can't tell them nothing. They think they have how you know as much as me. I'm 50 and you 19. You will never know as much as me, because it's the law of life. It's experience, but you can't tell these people nothing. And my son, he actually works with young men in the system, that is either going off to young people's jail, or they get charged and they go into adult people's jail, because all those kids in there have either unalived somebody, robbed somebody, essayed somebody. Like, these is real offenses. And so most of my adult life I have managed people, until the last couple of years, when I started having my own challenges. But I know people well. I've had to manage them and do all that my whole career, right? So you learn behaviors, you learn characters, and how to interact with people, because everybody got a different need. And I try to transfer that information to my son, because even though he's in a totally different arena, because he's dealing with dangerous people, it's still people. And one of the common things that we were discussing, because he'll call me and we'll kind of discuss like something that might have happened at his job that he wasn't oh, aware of, or don't have that experience, because he don't have a background of I said, you managing people, and managing people ain't easy. I said, you managing young dangerous people. um the one thing that we discuss, and I know it to be true, a lot of these young people, and I think this is why uh we are seeing what we are seeing, that's developing rapidly within our communities, and it's going to get worse. We ain't seen nothing yet. A lot of these young people don't have a soul. And to your point, Angel, ain't no souls. A lot of these people lack love. They didn't get attention. And so when you are walking around in a shell that ain't nobody put no love into, no time and no nurturing, you can't get that out of them. And so you have a lot of these young people, and these boys. And what is very scary, is you ain't talking about people in their 20s and 30s. Most of the crime that's happening today, these people are anywhere from 10 to 14 years old or younger. And it is sad. It is sad, but it is a reality. And you know, when I hear stories like, these guys are being you know, sent up, ain't no way. Yeah, it's true. If you take two people's lives, for example, you are a menace to society, period. But at 14 years old, ain't no way. Once you've been convicted, they should send you to an adult prison, not at 14. Wait at least till they 21.
Yeah, I agree.
But some states are doing that. And them boys are getting preyed upon.
Yes,
There,
yeah.
there's a young guy that I mean, well, he ain't a young guy. There's a guy on YouTube. I don't know how I came across his channel, but he spent most of his adulthood in being locked up in the system. So he now that he's married, he's been out for a while now, but you can tell he deals with emotional problems. Um, he talks about the real truths about life in in lockup. Going to these penitentiary and jail. It's so much essays that goes on, ours, if you follow me, that they do to them people up in there, and then they bring them back out in these communities and just drop them off. And then we as people, as women, and I'm flabbergasted by this, we hook up with these guys and want them to be a head of our household and walk around acting like they're supposed to be normal. And you dealing with people that have been assaulted, traumatized, have PTSD, and all
Mm-hmm.
other things. And we ain't talking about these realities. But what we starting to see them now, because they these guys, like that guy I did a video on last week. He went he took his mama out, his first cousin out, his ex-girlfriend's new friend out, and then when the cops caught up with him, he jumped out the car like he was gonna be Rambo, had a pow pow with them, and they took him out. These stories are so common and they keep happening. But the guy on here, why I applaud him, and he gives in detail about life in lockup. I mean, it was so graphic. I sent it to my son, and it gave us a window in the reality of what's really going on behind uh them bars. And this one lady um had thanked this guy. His channel is called I think the New Jack Crew. uh
Mm-hmm.
she thanked, so she had a young son. I think her son was maybe like 14, 15. And let me tell you, his channel is graphic. He walk you through what really go on behind them. Them boys don't have no idea what because on the outside they glorify. Yeah, I didn't did I had to do a year, or whatever they do, behind bars. But when they really get in that trouble and they send them to the big boy house, it's a whole nother arena.
Mm-hmm.
And she made her son sit down and watch some of them videos. And why? Because his name is G went, you know because he talked about different experiences he's had, because he didn't spend almost his whole adult life there, so he got a lot of stories. um uh what was going on this one particular time, it shook that boy so bad. She came back, thank you, she said she ain't had no more problems out that boy getting good grades now. Got it, it shook him straight. And that's what me and my son was talking about, because these is two guys, and it's actually an article that's wrote up about these two guys that they end up taking the life of an Uber driver in my hometown a couple years ago. And they just got sentenced the other day. So they did it when they was 15, right? The guy that the accomplice, not the pal power, I'm using that because um, YouTube, they'll shadow ban you if you use certain words. Um, um, I guess when he first went in, would just say, very unapologetic things, like what he's going to do with his family, what he's going to do to staff. So I guess, which I didn't know all this because I ain't never worked in that kind of environment. They take notes. And so when his sentencing came, I guess even though it's 2 years later, he's calmed down. Them notes are still relevant, and he ended up getting 35 years, and he wasn't a power. And the other boy got 25. These boys, they've been there in the system since. So it happened 2 years ago. They was 15. They 17 now. That boy ain't gonna get out until he in his 50s. He gonna be older than me when he get out, and he only 17 right now. But what we were discussing is where they at today. It don't set them up for the reality of what is coming. Because these boys, so where they at now, you don't have like the staff, they don't have weapons and things of that nature. I think that might be regular for all, most places when you're dealing with minors. But you going from where your family can bring you Jordans if you act good, to these guys, these big burly men, some of them in there for life, are been in there longer than them boys been alive. And when they see them, that's the closest thing to a fresh woman in their mind. These are real. This is real life. These are the real things that these people need to understand that is happening. My sister called me the other day. Her. Hold on, we got somebody else. Where am I at? Hold on, y'all. Thought I got another notification. Maybe I didn't. Anyway, her husband's niece had a baby 10 years ago by this guy. So they kid about 10 years old. The guy was just due to get out. He didn't spend 10 years. He was due to get out in I think in October. I think they said it was on CNN. I looked up the article. I even got the pictures of him, the aftermath. But anyway, he was due to get out October. And this ain't no like little guy. This guy body structure like he'd work out. He ain't, anyway, last week she talked to him earlier that day. Somebody was blowing up her phone. She missed the call because they called him back, got in a fight with somebody, and now he ain't no longer with us. And these are our realities. The way, like, how are you gonna send, to my point, them boys to these big houses? So now that they've been sentenced, they the paperwork being processed in the next month, them boys gonna be shipped out. And me and my son was talking, because G, that guy that I told you about on here, he is so explicit in how life is behind lockup. We know, we don't know because we ain't never been there, but we got a good idea of what's waiting on them boys. And it ain't nothing. And I mean, it ain't nothing nice. And the way that the system is set up, and it's so sad. These guys, just think, these guys have been, assaulted day in and day out. And I ain't just talking about physical, it's on a personal level, if y'all follow me. And these boys more and more are getting taken advantage of, being made into people's girlfriends. And we just normalizing and becoming numb to this stuff. And it ain't right. It is not right. And it is happening more and more. When I started listening to the stories, the explicit stories about what's going on, you know how your soul is troubled. It was so explicit, my soul felt troubled. And these are people's sons. And then these guys spend all this time away like that. And then they come out, and then women, they act so desperate. They want they want to be in a relationship with these men, and these men need help. They don't need a woman. They need help. But ain't nobody talking about these realities. These are our true realities out here. And it's scary. It's scary. Because when the G was so explicit, I paused at first before I sent his channel to my son. It was very, explicit. And I said, absolutely not. I said, you're going to see in this. Now, my son, 30, he just turned 30. He a young man, but he a man. Look, I paused before I sent it to my son because it was that, like, the stories. But I said, he need to hear this.
That's related to the school to prison pipeline, where they're taking the young people and And mental health is a big part of that, whether it's a result of trauma or, you know, entitlement. Because even though we don't want to necessarily label this way, but the mindset of this particular generation and the entitlement, to me, that is another form of mental health issue,
I
you
know.
know. And they don't want to take responsibility, and they're focused on what society hasn't given them, what mistakes their parents made. And
Mhm.
I'm talking about successful ones.
Mhm.
My son is 24 and he is the engineer that makes well over 200,000.
Mhm.
And he tells me, you did 96% accurate. Everything you taught me and prepared me for. That's why I was successful. But guess what portion he's hung up on? The 4% that I
4%.
didn't get right, you
Mhm.
know? And is and then also because he is interacting with social media and he thinks these strangers on the other side or wherever is his friend.
And they not.
And no, and then they have this concept, like we were talking about something. And I said, son, I know financially you're doing well, and I know the foundation we put in spiritually, but
Mhm.
are you reading your word?
Mhm.
Are you praying? And he
Yeah.
says, Mom, I pray multiple times, but I probably only read my word once or twice a week. I'm not going to lie to you. But they really believe that in 15 years, the world as we know it, if it's still here on earth at all, is not going to be.
It's a spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
It is.
And they're buying into it. They
Mhm.
are buying into it. Hook, line, and sinker.
Listen, they are normalizing. I look people so everybody's so hung up on, oh, everybody got a right to live and do whatever they want. That's true. You know, whatever you choose to do, that's on you. But what you're not going to do is force me into conforming to what is unnatural, what
Some
goes
too.
against the law of
Mhm,
mother nature. Uh,
mhm.
that's the biggest agenda,
Yes, it is.
you know, and it is very powerful. I know. So I have this prayer line. I from my hometown. I call at 5 a.m. It's open 7 days a week, right? And the pastor, like several years back, like so it was real. I was calling in. I wouldn't miss a day when the pandemic was happening. Um, but he was talking about what was coming, like with the these the LGBTQ community, as far as how they was going to be taking over, so much, all these rights. And you hear it, but when it's really in your face now, I was like, I just read this article. This guy, he identified as a woman, and he ended up getting in trouble. They placed him in a female jail where they had to remove him, because he got several of the inmates pregnant.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
mean, I don't want to be in nowhere in no rush. I remember the first time, I think I was in the airport, and this guy came out of a stall. He was dressed up as a woman, but he was clearly a male. I was very uncomfortable. It shocked me. Number one, I don't want to be in the same bathroom with you. Listen, do what you want to do, but what makes you have more rights than me? So,
Right.
now I got to change my life around. Like
Mhm.
you can dress up as a woman, you can act like one, you can do all those things, but it should not have to impact me. Everybody has the right to be. And the
Mhm.
way that what the world is going on now, everyone does. We don't have no rights. We don't. And it is getting worse.
Yeah.
And I am concerned because what I see more than anything is the black male.
Mhm.
Is let's just call it what it is. I see, and they are the ones walking around. I see them being more like a woman than anybody else, and
Mhm.
stand us.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Well, in certain industry, they reward non-binary or feminized males, and then you know because they want to destroy the family. They want to. It goes back to the ideal of the population growth. We got too many humans on
Mhm.
Earth. What's the best way? You're hitting agenda, and then you're promoting and encouraging, you know, same sex. And then when it's not same sex, even in, you know, heterogeneous relationships, what is it that they're advocating for? Minimizing the number of children that are born, you know. And if he does marry someone, they're not encouraging him to marry the black woman. Even down to our commercials and things that we see. Generally, when there is a black male, they're putting him with any race of woman, you know, whether it's from Asian descent, whether it's from, you know, Central America, South America, anywhere, you know, except for a fellow black woman. And they, you know, and you know, I'm of a strong belief we have free choices. God can give people free choice. We have to. But I see it as make us anybody, but we don't want, you know, the black on black love. You know, because when you start chipping away at that love between an individual, then that means you're chipping at it with family. And when you do family, you're also chipping away at it as a community. You
Absolutely.
know, and so it
Well,
just
there's no community anymore. There isn't no community. There's no black community anymore.
not so much of a national or global one,
Mhm.
but in as we go into the smaller communities,
Oh yeah, small.
it definitely is. But what has been pumped in? Poison mentally, poison socially, poison economically. Take your money and pay it to anybody else.
Yep.
You know, don't use it a lot. And how do you engage with all of these different messages that are coming in, whether you're on a college campus or whether you are working, you know, blue collar job? The constant message is you truly didn't deserve to be here. And we know the jobs, no, nor our institutions, academic or other types of they're not going to have anyone there, including us, if they're not qualified, because they're about making money. So if we didn't qualify to do that job and make the money, we wouldn't be there. But what are they still trying to say? They took affirmative action away, but yet they keep saying we're affirmative action. We're giving this opportunity. I tell people don't buy into it because they are not going to let you, me, or anyone else come to that job and not make money for them. But they try to instill that messaging that we're not, you know, good enough.
Well, you are good enough for what's going around now, them black jobs.
Oh, I was going to try to stay away from it.
No, no, because we gotta talk about it, and this is why. And it ain't just for us; it's for other minorities too. But it's specifically more for us because we've been living it. These other minorities are starting to feel it some in these corporate jobs. Like I had a black job, the black job that managed others, the undesirable job, the high stress job that dealing with people, because dealing with people ain't easy. And being exposed to stress for extended amount of time is detrimental to our health. See what I believe, what I know that had happened to me. I had dealt with stress, that strong black woman mentality. I was her. I did her the best. Um, I dealt with them high stress jobs because it was good money for so long to where I ended up in therapy in 2019. And depression, anxiety is real.
Yeah, and you know, I was working with my holistic doctor Saturday because you know I noticed certain things happen in my body, and we were talking. But to get to her, I went through this. I want to say a teenage clerk, and she may have been her 21, 22. And when I got in with the doctor, because I had traveled an hour and a half to see my doctor, and and as I'm saying to her, no, you need to reach the doctor. You need to, when the doctor come in between the last patient and this patient, you need to let her know I'm here. And she knows I traveled an hour and a half. She's going to accommodate me. Well, no. Bottom line is she wanted to say, you're escalating things. Now, I purposely had my voice down to close to a whisper because when I get to that point, I already know I'm not leaving here with what I came for, you know. And for her to say I was escalating, I said, no, what it is you're not used to a black woman asserting herself.
Amen.
And I said, and I did not make this mistake. You may have not made it, but the system that you work for made this mistake, and I'm not going to be penalized for it. Well,
Mhm.
I can't interrupt. But I went and sat in the waiting room. And what did I do? I text the doctor. Next thing I know, I hear the doctor coming out. Who told Miss Scruggs we couldn't see her? You know?
Mhm.
And but I know I deal with lupus. I tell people lupus lives with me. But there's nothing you could tell me my lupus didn't come as a result of trauma, the work hostility,
Yep.
and I said to her, and my doctor is white female, but she's a spirit-filled Christian woman. So she ain't gonna take anything. I said, and I'll say my age at 59,
Mhm.
that am no longer interested in lowering my voice to make a white female feel comfortable.
I'm
I
sure
said,
I neither.
yeah, but all of that wears on you. And in my position, in government, you know, I had a region. I had 300 employees
Mhm.
underneath me, and the only ones that looked like me and sound like me were the clerks and secretaries. I
Mhm.
had taken over for someone else where, we were about to have a problem. And all of that, I'm gonna say aggression and microaggression did take a toll on my health. I'm not gonna say it was strictly the job, but early childhood there was some trauma.
Mhm.
And so, but you have to take care of yourself
Yes.
mentally, physically, spiritually, because the warfare is to destroy,
Yes.
and it's at so many levels. And if I could just emphasize to people about taking care of yourself, and recognizing that these aggressions and microaggressions are designed, because you know, there's a we're perceived as threats, you
But
know.
our stories are the same. You could tell my story and I could tell yours, and I don't even,
Hmm.
and that's the truth. Our stories are the same. Like with the mic, like the work. I have said that many times. So I started speaking out because I launched a page called Let's Get Real and Heal on Facebook in 2019 while in therapy. And it's just evolved. I have kept talking since 2019, being ill. I, Relationships, personal or professional, are at so many of us are detriment. A lot of our illnesses derive from relationships. A lot of people are sick, and have the conditions because of bad relationships. It starts, and I ain't talking about just personal. I'm talking about professional too. Um, I got sick because of professional relationships, because I bought into that strong black woman mentality for too long, uh putting myself in harm way. So and other people gladly let me. There wasn't nobody trying to stop me, but but me not knowing any better, not knowing what I know today, I'm full speed ahead. I'm taking blows and high levels of stress just nonstop until one day my body said, I'm done with this. And it's been a journey to get well ever
Oh
since.
yeah.
It's
Oh
been
yeah.
a journey, and it is real. And that's why I started to speak out against that strong black woman mentality, because it is killing us. How they say, stress is a silent killer. Oh, it is.
Yes.
And it's taking people up out of here.
Hmm.
And what I know to be true, when I start looking around, these people, these young people, ain't nobody old dropping.
No.
And I mean, I don't like to go on Facebook as much because it's depressing, but I'm connected with people that either I grew up with, I work with. Like a lot of well, it used to be, I got more people now that don't know me than do, but originally most people that I was connected with over there knew me. um and they was dropping like flies, here today, gone today. And a lot of, and what I come to realize, and why I tend to want to stay away from Facebook, because it's an older group and they stuck in their way. And we got, and a lot of people, they don't want, they uncomfortable with telling the truth. They are very conditioned from the old way. We don't talk about these things. Certain things shouldn't be discussed, but not doing that is killing us. It's killing us. The more and more we uh like they say, I'm using the term, mind our own business, which this all of our business. To your point of awareness, it takes a village, it takes a community. So that mind your own business trick no good. You might not be doing it, but that don't mean it ain't needed and it ain't necessary. We have to start being honest about what's going on. And until we come together and be honest and support each other and come together with the solutions to these problems, it's just it's mind-boggling, the things that I see. I've been on these platforms now 5 years, since 2019. I didn't came across so many stories. It is unbelievable what I know today. And it's not getting better, it is getting worse. And these young people, they are in a state of emergency, true emergency. Like me and my son discussed with these young people in the system. Everybody talk about mental health, but they ain't doing nothing. They are not doing nothing. And a lot of these people that's these young people locked up, it's mental. They locked up because their mind is jacked up. A lot of them need help. And some of these cities so I'm from Ohio. We don't even have mental health facilities. They defunded them. So you got people out here that need mad help, but they no longer have facilities for them. So even if you're a mental case, they gonna just lock you up. Systematic. And don't start throwing in the private sectors. It's about money. It's no longer about people. But these are our families. These are members within our communities. That's why I can't look at the other way. I live around these people. I learned in 2019 to never say, "Oh, not me," or that happened to other people. We all know what the pandemic did to us, and we seen all these lives lost. And you mean to tell me I'm the first person that I know to have COVID? That didn't just happen. I am so don't happen to me. You are everybody. You are them to everybody. I know it can happen to me because it happened to me. People think, oh, not me. It happened to other people. You are other people to everybody, and don't you forget it. That young man that I was telling y'all about, my sister called me about that. He was on CNN. They said the other day that that fight broke out and they took his life. That just happened. What? Not even 5 days ago. He thought he was gonna go home. He gone. And all these guys up in there, and I think it's sad. I was on TikTok, and a jail full of them was live. How they got a phone and they on TikTok, and them women just on there just cheering them on. Everybody want a man, my man at any cost. It's the mental health. The mental health of our society is just terrible. It is terrible. We are normalizing unhealthy people. You see these older people like you and I that's out here acting a fool. There has to be some leadership. When there is no leadership, there is no direction. And people ain't stepping up and guiding. And these young people, they so turned off, and you can't tell them nothing. Some of them, I mean, you can't even interact with some of them because you got to protect your peace. Like my daughter, I had to be honest with myself. I can meet you halfway and I can do what I can, but what I'm not gonna do, you ain't gonna. There's boundaries with me. I don't care who you are.
Mm-hmm.
There
Mm-hmm.
are boundaries with me, no matter who you are. And I can love you, but I can let you go. And I do believe in accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these people, they want to go along to get along. I know that ain't. I'm going to do what's best for you, even if it don't feel good.
Mhm.
Because when you go along, see, you setting people up to be rotten. Some of these people out here are rotten to the core. It's
Yes.
what it is. They rotten, and nobody has held them accountable.
Right.
And so they're when you running around here and you don't got a conscience, you a dangerous person.
Hmm.
And it's a lot of dangerous people out here because they don't have no conscience. We ain't gonna get into politics because everybody got a right to think what they want to think, and I can get very passionate. But people better wake up around here and see what's going. We in trouble no matter what. But it can look a lot uglier,
Hmm.
and people, they just lollygagging away like, they don't see nothing. And I'm like, am I know I ain't over here tripping. Like, people don't see, like, they just go along like this stuff is just normal until it happened to them. Until it happened to them. And that's what I'm afraid of, because I know what until it happened to you feels like and looks like, because it happened to me with COVID-19. People think never me. I'm telling you, you next. It's called life. It happens to all of us. It might look different, but life gonna knock at your door. And when it do, what will you do? What will you do? And a lot of them don't got the answer. A lot of them don't got the answer. And there's so many people out here, like us as women, be it, whatever race. We need to be honest with each other, and we need to support each other. Anytime,
Right.
I don't care what your religious beliefs are, but the Roe versus Wade, they didn't overturn that. Women don't have a right to do what they want with their bodies, to the extent that you can be a victim of incest in certain areas. You still got to have that child. And current day, that's a scary thing. And I didn't came and let's let's be honest. I didn't came across so many stories here recently about incest in the family. It's just terrible. But they brush that under the rug. They don't want to talk about that. There's so much going on out here, and everybody being silent. Silence is a disease. It's a scary thing. It's a,
I think people are hiding their heads in the sand and they're in denial about what's going on around them and its impact on them emotionally, physically, spiritually, you know. And it seems as though people are responding in a survival mode or reactionary mode, and are not looking beyond the immediate and surface issue, you know.
yeah. I'm just afraid. I guess if you believe in God, don't fear not. Um, what I do know is I don't go nowhere without my spirituality. That's first and foremost, because it is a new day and time. I remember growing up. I'm a 70s baby. And I grew up in the church, and you always heard, about the Bible, and what's going to happen when God return. And you always think, oh, well, I won't be alive by that time. That's, worlds away. I don't believe that no more. It's so much going on. I mean, it can happen any day. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a realist. I look at what's in front of me, what has happened, and what makes sense. Like, so many people, they don't believe in spirituality, which, okay, that's your right. But these stories have lasted for centuries. That just didn't the Bible standing the test of time just didn't happen. you know and people, it's in the Bible. I can't quote exactly where it's at, but it's a race of people that will not know me. I think it's Gen Z. I'm not gonna lie. Those young people don't believe. They don't. Most of them don't have a spirituality. They don't believe in.
I agree.
Mhm,
May I say something?
absolutely.
Okay, so I had a dream a few years ago, and in the dream, I was I was walking towards the building, and the line was wrapped around the building.
Mhm,
And then me and others, it wasn't only me, we were casting out spirits. And some man said, well, the spirit has gone into a child or something like that.
mhm.
And I went around to go handle it. So I know it's definitely a season, but that may be some help because I believe the church is not doing that. I believe that we need to start doing that, but I'm not there yet. I'm still afraid. I practice on my cat, I practice on my dog, but it's like that's something like, Lord, you're going to have to really, push me in it because if you talk about, a lot of people needing help, well, that's a good place to start. And then baptism, to baptize the people.
Mhm.
So hopefully, I don't know when I'm always referring people to a deliverance ministry in Montana or, somewhere, but I feel like if that may be some help for all these people that we're talking about. Well,
Well,
wait.
we got the right churches because every time I talk about the churches, though, you get people in the uproar, and it's clear. I don't have all the answers, but what I do know is I have discernment, and I got my answers, and I didn't live long enough to where can't nobody move me now because my discernment has stood the test of time and has been immaculate. You got too many pimps at the in the pulpit. You got people hustling the church. These people ain't leaders. These people ain't ministers and pastors. These are hustlers, and they are not religious people. You have these guys that's coming out here that's sleeping and these women. Everybody want to be the first lady. They asleep with the pastor's heartbeat. I didn't grow up like that.
Exploitation. Yeah, exploitation.
Yeah. That ain't no pastor. And I'm
That's
looking
not of
at
God.
get in your tail when you call out these hustlers. How and they making millions off these people. But they sleeping with these women and getting them pregnant and moving on to the next. When did that become a pastor? I ain't never known a pastor, not a holy man. I don't, and nobody is without sin, but there are some holy people that walk amongst us, and these guys just ain't it. These women just ain't it. These women, they want to be first ladies, and they out here getting BBLs. I ain't never seen nothing like this. That is not a holy woman. One thing I'm not gonna play with is my spirit, my spirituality. I'm not walking behind no pastors that's out here sleeping with the women, uh, cussing like sailors. They spending the congregation's money on designer clothes and Bentleys and all of that. The most that pastors used to have, all the pastors that had a nice following in a solid church, most they ever had was all of them had new Cadillacs, which was acceptable. Now
Hmm.
we got Bentleys and everything else.
Yeah. I'm with uh, S Trafficking Organization,
Mhm.
and we have found, unfortunately, a large sector in the church that are exploiting
I believe it.
and doing trafficking. And, so we've been reaching out to ministries and trying to educate and teach.
Hmm.
And one of our major challenges is, okay, for instance, the pastor is willing to come and learn and serve on the committee. But when we start talking about the application of the education and ways to teach
Hmm.
membership to identify and prevent, they don't want to provide access. It's like when you try to say, okay, well, how does this fit into your ministry? What ministry would this be? You know, um,
effective in? Is it the youth ministry? Is it the family ministry? And they want to come and participate and show support by sitting in a meeting with other ministers, but we're having a challenge with actually doing the application of it. And the other side of it is through some of the education that has been provided to them and giving them a safe arena to discuss. We have where, I don't know, this is a very small number, but where pastors have gone back to their church and realized, wait a minute, my associate pastor or my youth pastor, whatever, don't have healthy boundaries, with, with the youth. And so, they've had to remove some, they had to, there's this assumption that if you're in the church, you're a member and you're active, then you won't have certain issues going on. And, I've had to, say to a pastor, that associate pastor you have over there, he has issues with those foster care kids he's and his wife are in charge of, and he goes, well, did you get that from work? Said, I haven't worked in 10 years, for health issues. I said, but I don't have to know what's going on in a file somewhere with the county or the state. I can look at the interactions that I'm seeing.
Amen.
You
Amen.
know, and so I said, if you want me to be there when you talk to him, and when he talked to him, yeah, there was some serious stuff going on. And then there was another time, one of the big mega churches, they're now closed for the area that I live in. A membership of 4,000 to 7,000 is considered a big church.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to this particular church for a friend and family day. So my friend said, Shonda, we're just down the street from your church. If you catch your 7:00, you could probably be here for our main service that is at 10:30. And it did work out. But while I was sitting in there, they were talking about tithes and offering. People were, doing whatever they felt comfortable doing. And then this one lady stood up. Now, when you looked at the lady and, the clothing, and you look at most of the members, you could tell that she was from a different socioeconomic group.
Mm-hmm.
And she gave her children's SNAP, or what we call food stamps,
Mm-hmm.
to the church for the food pantry. And the pastor was up there, see, tithing is tithing, da, 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 da. And I had to say to my friend, I said, get me to the pastor's secretary. And he was saying, that's going to be hard. It's Sunday. I said, if I don't get to the secretary and she sets something up with this pastor, you guys are about to get shut down, because what just happened is illegal. Those stamps are made for
Those
that
kids.
woman and her children.
Exactly. And
And
the
I
pastor
said,
wasn't educated enough. He was gonna take them.
he had her up there on parade. And let me tell you, the sad part is I recognize at least 10 social workers in that church because I helped train them. You know what I'm saying? And so when I talked to the secretary, she said, normally we don't hold meetings on Sunday, with the pastor, but I said, that's why I inquired about you. So I talked to him, and he addressed it when it came back to the evening service. I said, no, you're going to need to address it next Sunday. I said, because it's the 4,000 that was sitting in here, they heard it and saw it. And he says, I have one question. I said, what is that? You know what he said? I have quite a few social workers, mental health, Department of Social Service. How come no one said anything? I said, that's the question you need to ask. Do they feel comfortable saying something to you? I said, but the law was broken. And I said, and I don't suggest you sell these CDs unless you have a way to edit that part out. I said, because it's you just can't do it. And so he called her in and, said that they couldn't accept it and why. But the fact that, okay, let's say he didn't know, because maybe he's been a pastor over 30 years and haven't really paid attention to what this, system is. But his 9 or 10 social workers that I identified, I know he knows, because it's a part of the training. I know they know, but they didn't feel comfortable going to him.
Yeah, but he knew too, though.
Do you think so?
Absolutely.
Then he was stupid.
he was great.
Well, that's probably why his church is not there any longer. Yeah.
Common sense will tell you that, you know. And that's why I don't play with these churches, because I know what I see. And they have turned, they have preyed on people, number one. A lot of people, seek church out because they need some kind of they're trying to relieve their hearts, their minds. They need some kind of,
Hmm.
some kind of support. and,
Hmm.
and so they a lot of people are preyed upon. And a
Yes.
lot of people go to church, that sometimes are emotionally unstable. And they look in, you got the regular people, but a lot of people that are drawn to the church because they are battling something.
Right. Especially single mothers, single women. You know,
Absolutely.
and what's the message? Well, keep coming here, keep contributing to the ministry, keep, paying your tithes, and by, you're gonna get that husband. But until you get that husband, you're married to the church. And in terms of time commitment, growing, studying, raising your children, yes, but when it gets beyond that, where taking care of the church exploits families,
Hmm.
that's a no. And I'm not saying every church is doing it.
But a lot of them are.
Yeah. And it's just it's not right. And so, you know, um, it's really unfortunate. And because they're going there for help. A lot of people, especially when they, go to church later on in life, rather they're in their 30s or 40s, they're going because they're hurting. They're looking for support, they're looking for comfort,
Yes.
and I had to say to my pastor, Joe, there's just certain things that in your current level of education training you haven't been prepared for. I said, would you, if someone came here with a substance abuse problem, would you try to find them some rehab, or would you just pray for them? He said, I pray for them. I said, and if someone came in with a broken leg, he said, I would send them to the doctor to get their leg. I
Come on.
said, and that's what substance abuse is. They need a different kind of doctor. We can pray for them and pray that the rehabilitation and the services that they need, will be anointed, and God will show favor with the counselors and the doctors that they must interact with. But it's
That's
not
the problem.
it's not your education, it's not your experience. I know prayer changes things, but
Yeah.
why did God give us these talents, these skills, and these abilities, and the anointing? Every doctor I deal with, you know and they know where I get my health care. Well, you better give Miss Scruggs time to pray, because she's not going, and I'm a massive heart attack survivor and pulmonary embolism survivor, secondary to lupus. And they say, they have it in the record, religious fanatic. Okay, I'll take that. I've been called worse. But they know that I'm praying over the doctor who's about to do the surgery. I'm praying, so that's where, for me, prayer comes in, and plus other areas. But I'm not going to pray on it and then go to a witch doctor to cut me open and correct my heart
Yes.
you know and so that's one of the things that, and to say that somebody needs additional services outside of church, it's not taken away from the church.
At all. The
It's
church,
not taken away from the church.
the older church, I would say. Let me read this real quick. Ellis
Mhm.
Perry, to your point, too many people go by, don't touch God's anointed, and won't say a word, knowing things are wrong. I agree that it's a
Yeah,
lot. And I don't want to be in amongst people that where I can't be chastised or you can't be chastised
absolutely.
wrong. That ain't the right setting for me. That ain't I was saying that earlier. It might have been on TikTok. I responded to a video. I said, people don't want to be corrected no more. You know, everybody, just they got the answers and they right, and it's just wrong. And when you have these pastors and things like that out here, and they knowingly are preying upon a vulnerable people, it's a sad state of events. Hold on. But it's a reality. There's so many people that need help. Amen. You Ellis, we all on the same page. We all have to be accountable. And that's why I have no problem. And every time I talk about these pastors that's doing that sketchy, questionable stuff, oh, they light me on fire. And I am not moved. I'm gonna keep addressing these bad behaviors, you know, these conferences. And that's why a lot of these people out here are very popular influencers, are content creators. Uh it started with talking about relationships, heartbroken women for the most part. That was the biggest topic in the strongest arena that blew up social media. All these heartbroken women or
Mhm.
lone women that desperate for a man. And I don't say that lightly. I came out here and I told my truth, so other people to know you ain't alone, and I identify. I ain't just out here just talking. I used to be you. I went through a stage in my life where I thought I needed somebody. Always busy, didn't want to be alone because I didn't know how to be. Generationally, passed down. We most people, everybody, so quick to say, "Oh, I love me." But the reality is most people don't. You have to learn how to love yourself. You ain't born with self-love. And when you look around, a lot of these cases, I realize most of these people, they don't love themselves either. I had to do a lot of work. It was a lot of praying, a lot of spirituality, and a lot of telling myself the truth. Quit lying to myself to get myself to the point to where I'm okay. Everybody say, you have to can't nobody else make you happy. You have to do that for yourself. It's easy for people to say that, but a lot of people they say it, but they don't know how to do it. You know, that's work. You have to evolve into it to that state in life. And most people don't have the courage or the strength to sustain the lessons that you need to learn to acquire the ability and the awareness to really love yourself and to make yourself happy. It took me several years to get here. I didn't get here to my 40s. And that's why I can come out here and tell the truth. And I ain't ashamed because I didn't know what I didn't know. And I also know that what I didn't know, most people I know didn't know either. And a lot of them still don't. That's why when people be running around talking about I love myself, I just look at them because people that really love themselves, they know people that love themselves because you didn't been there, you didn't did work to get there. And when people out here playing, it's just a sad state of events. Free said, I've been on a journey to love me for the last 5 years. It's work. Amen. And I know you have, Free. You done been with me over a year, and we have honest conversations over here. And you stay on that path. And I tell you, once you get there, you'll know when you're there. I don't think you ever truly will fully arrive there because I think life is a journey, but you get so much better and better as time goes on. Like I am so much better than I used to be 5 years ago. I used to be a shopaholic, something terrible. If I got my money back from all the money I spent on that retail therapy, who knows where I would be in my life. I know, I tell you this, I'd be damn well off. But I was caught up into this big lie in life. I lived the way we were taught, what we knew, you know. And you have to come to yourself and be honest with yourself to get to that point to this is not the way life is supposed to be. I knew that there was something else out there that I should be experiencing. I knew that there was a more healthy experience than what I knew to be true. I grew up in the era of teenage pregnancy and dope dealers, and everybody's story was the same. A lot of girls I knew, I wasn't a teenage pregnant mother, but damn near everybody I knew was. A lot of the guys was in and out of jail selling drugs, and all their baby daddies was that. I want too many marriages jumping off, and you have to come to yourself and make a decision, and have an awareness that okay, this might be before me, but I know there's something different. There has to be, and I sought that journey. And it wasn't until my 40s, and I have no shame. to where I arrived to the point to understand and to feel and live within what self-love really is. And it's a beautiful thing. And that's why I speak out about that strong Black woman mentality. Something I get upset just thinking about it, because I was the poster child of that, and it was to my detriment. We ain't no stronger than nobody like that. You why you think we got the high heart disease rates and all that other stuff? We women, we just people, and we need not buy into that mess. We need to be more supportive and honest with each other so we can live this life the way it's supposed to be lived. And it's just not enough of us that's doing that. It's not enough of us that's doing that. And it's a it's a shame. I've been running off at the mouth, ladies. Either one of you got something you want to say?
May I say something?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, I think that scripture, it says, I think it's found in James,
Mhm.
confess your faults one towards another and pray for one another that ye may be healed. And you're doing just that. You're confessing. You're telling the world. You're telling me. And I think it's important that we do that because the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So if we continue, um, you know, being transparent, this is my story, this is your story, love one another, he's calling us to love.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we need to keep on confessing,
Mhm.
that I think that there's going to be healing. So I'm forcing myself to speak. I don't like to speak, but I'm forcing myself. And so anyway, this is where I'm at right now. But yeah, so I love listening. I'm excited. I'm so glad we got to a chance to, talk.
Me too.
Yes.
You ladies help me listen. So what you just described was me. You wouldn't know this, but naturally, I was not comfortable with speaking at all. Very uncomfortable with it. But the more I did it, or I became aligned with what felt right in my life and what I should.
Mhm.
And I had made a commitment to God, that I would be honest, because see, I almost lost my life in 2020,
Mm.
and God saved me. And
Mhm.
and when He did that, I made a commitment to Him that I would tell the truth, and that I would never put another man on a pedestal, only God, because I did,
Mhm.
putting these dudes on pedestals. I, that mentality, I always wanted some guy to come in to save me. I used to pray. I laugh now, but I used to pray that God would send. I had that, that fairy tale mindset. A guy would come sweep me up and save me. And until one day, and I prayed for that for years. Until one day, God told me. He said, "All these years you have prayed to me for all these things, and you have not taken the time to notice what you have prayed for. I have put in you. All the
Right.
I was asking to be saved, and everything I need, I was doing for myself. God had put it into me. Matter of fact, I even saved a couple of them mofos, to be honest. But it's the truth. It helped them get good jobs and everything. Um,
Mhm.
but when I had that awakening, it was like we talking here, ladies. Like God spoke to me, what you have asked for has always been you. And you
Already been provided.
Yes, and you have not taken the time to acknowledge and to notice. It changed me. It changed me. And you know what? I ain't prayed for that no more, because I know better, and I ain't had that desire no more. I don't have the same desires that I used to have. Like I believe in love. We as a woman, every woman wants love. I believe in love, but I'm not a prisoner to that no more. If it don't happen, I'm okay. I'm not bitter, or I'm not at the stage at 50 years old. I don't feel like, oh, that ain't gonna never happen. I don't know if it happened or not, but what I do know is time ain't waiting nobody, and I ain't sitting around waiting on it. I gotta live. All I got is today in this moment. And if I can leave this place better than I found it by helping somebody, I have struggled for the last several years. People that know me personally. wouldn't have never said or thought that I would show up in this way. I was a very immaculate dresser, very meticulous on everything. But life happened to me. I would have never came on a camera and my hair not be done. I was that kind of girl chick. That ain't what's important to me. I ain't no slob, but I don't need all of that to feel important, to move some. It's how helping other people. And as other people help me, that's what fulfills me now in my life. When like people like Free, I done been around Free been here since the beginning. When I was real sickly, because my mind was recently impacted by COVID, and I couldn't think straight, trying to remember words. People, probably thinking like, what's she talking about? But I still came out and I was trying to get out the message that I had committed to getting. And they would encourage me and they would come back and they didn't know what my struggle was, and just say like, oh, you helped me today. Or listen, you helped me, I had a rough day. Like people, as much as they would leave me a comment, it helped heal my soul. And that's what's important to me now. I talk about it's pretty much middle-aged people that follow me for the most part, and a lot of them have adult children. And every time I talk about my kids or struggles that I've had, with adult children, those conversations blow up because, again, most of us can tell the same story, and we are mature enough and honest enough to where we can have these authentic conversations because I ain't alone in this. I know I ain't alone. And speaking of, uh, other people that need to hear you will find you. And they need to know they ain't alone either. It's been a lot of lonely people come through here that needed some help. And they still out there. And we just need to continuously, so I believe, is to show up authentically and just be. So many people out here pretending. I'm just gonna show up and just be. Because that's the best I got to offer you is me. And I'm good enough for any and everybody. Because
That's right.
everybody is good enough for me.
The pretense is so exhausting. It takes our energy, it takes our focus, it distracts from our purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to be on alert, you know, for those things and people that come into our lives to make sure that they're not draining us, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I definitely believe that, and I know that God wants us to care for one another. He's asked us to pray for our enemies. He said how we treat his children is a direct reflection of how we feel about him. That's the one that gets me. Because in some moments when, I just say, poking the bear, poking the bear, poking the bear.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to sometimes sit there and say, this is one of those poking the bear moments. Lord, I know you're expecting and wanting more from me in this moment. And then sometimes I just have to, you know, get up, remove myself, and sometimes, it's for hours, weeks, months, but he gave me the insight and the strength to disconnect. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the disconnections may be for a short period of season, and other times it may be for a longer time than I even initially knew.
Mm-hmm.
But if we are constantly pouring out and we're not having our cups filled, then it serves as a distraction because you're trying to pour more than you actually have to give. And it renders us tired, sick. But when I do see when and how the Lord uses me, it's so refreshing. It's like sometimes I even look up in the middle of doing something. I say, "Oh Lord, I'm still your child. You're still using me in
Mm-hmm.
ways that I can see and understand, and I get great pleasure out of that." But He's also giving me the discernment
Mm-hmm.
of when some of the users come around, you know, and um, and I think that still goes back to what God says in all things we're supposed to consult Him. So now I don't just wholeheartedly jump out there. If there's an emergency and you may need to patch someone up or something, of course.
Because right now, they're bleeding. So,
Mhm.
put a tourniquet or something. But I try to seek him and what he would have me to do to serve his child. Because if I do it in my own understanding, my own strength, I'm going to mess it up.
Right.
And I've had to do a few redos. And so I have no doubt about what God wants us to do, but that we have to use the discernment that we're gifted with, and understanding that sometimes it's essential to stop, pray, and wait on an answer from the Lord before we start engaging in what I call the rescue behaviors.
That's a
Um,
that's a fact.
mhm.
Because I done did some things thinking that, oh, God would want me to do it, and then it didn't turn out right. And when I stopped and reassessed it, after it was all said and done, I was like, wasn't nothing about that God. Wasn't nothing about that God. Because I would think, so I had that rescue mentality in a lot of part of my life. So being in management, right? I would hire and fire. So I had the ability to help a lot of people. Amen. Free reason, season, or lifetime. And a lot of people always needed help, right? So I would hire people, and then in the end, some people I shouldn't have hired, because I felt like, well, if I don't give them a chance, they won't get one. And what so I don't get into that no more though, because well, I ain't in that position to hire. They want me to be, but I'm fighting out tooth and nail. That's another day. Because I don't. To your point, awareness. I- my cup ran empty. I gave and gave so much to where I got sickly. And I'm not and I'm and I am far from a selfish person. I believe that you are put here to be service to others. But what I have but there's a caveat to that. And a lot of people they can use that self-care in the wrong context. I know now I have to be take care of myself first.
Absolutely.
Somebody else. I used to didn't do that. And that's why, like, even with my daughter, see, my kids 10 years apart, but a lot of my son wasn't like my daughter. He was a more his mannerism and just his personality is a lot more accommodating to my liking, if you will. But I don't tolerate certain things no matter who you are. And so my daughter can't manipulate me or do certain things that she might have been able to get away with had she been my first child when I was younger. I don't play them games with nobody. And see, that's my COVID is kicking in, because and that's a real thing. I'm gonna do another live for people that might have had it and they got like that brain fog, because my mind will just go blank. I don't even know where I was going with that. But before I forget this, I want to tell y'all this. So in my bio section, I got an email, right? And if y'all ever got like, because like this is a collaboration thing. Because I'm just a regular person like everybody else. I just come out here to talk and want to connect with people and encourage and and build a community of people that can support each other, because I know it's a lot of people out here that's struggling emotionally or don't have a good support system. But if y'all ever have like come across topics or situations, because they be trending, and you want to talk about it, email me and we'll come on live, to do it, because the more I get people to engage, the more I'll come live, you know um because we need to talk about these things, because it's really not getting any better. Free said, me too, I would overextend myself for people who would never be available for me in my times of need. Listen, I did that so much in my life. I just got tired of it. People will drain you. They'll change your heart. And they started, I used to feel like my heart was too good, because it would hurt very easily, and it was extremely giving until one and I used to be upset because I felt like I felt too much, and other people didn't feel as much as I did. And one day I just said, to hell with this. I'm tired of people being careless with my heart. But I had to be accountable, because what, to my point, when I say, we want these women, they take these convicts and want them to be the head of their household. um Everybody is not emotionally healthy enough to have a front row seat in your life. We put unhealthy people right at the head of our household and tell them to run it, and they run it straight to the ground. And then we look around and ask why. I don't look for that no more, because I know the truth of the matter is most of these people need therapy before they get with me. I mean, before they get with any of us. A lot of us need therapy, and then me and darn sure do need it. And people don't want to be honest about that, and because we've normalized covering it up and shaking it off. And a lot of these people, they need therapy. They don't need a relationship. And I stand by that wholeheartedly. And won't nobody move me on that. Because most people I done dated, they have the same characteristics my whole life. And all of them had traumas or PTSD, something in their life. And it's just, wait a minute. Absolutely. I agree. I was talking about that on TikTok, because that's a topic. We can I'll put when when did she go? I think she'd be dropping off. Let me add her back on. Hold on. All right, you
I'm
there?
sorry. I'm sorry about that. I've been having system problems.
No, that's okay. I'm just glad y'all here. Yeah, it's a lot of topics to talk about. Real topics, serious topics. But it goes back to, for me, how these conversations started for me was mental health. People don't, they just don't talk about, to your point of awareness when you was talking about your church people. And I did a video. I said, it behooves me. I don't understand. When you sick, you go to the doctor. When you need a surgery or something, you go to the doctor. Your brain is an organ. It is a part of your body. It does get sick. But we associate that so tough with crazy that don't nobody want to touch it. And it's unbelievable. And you got all these people out here suffering, flipping out, and ain't nobody doing nothing about it. And I don't know what Angel, you had said you're not black. I don't know what your race is, and I don't know like if in your community if y'all think this way, but I know in awareness, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the black community, like coming up, we used to have that mentality when we used to hear bizarre stories or serial killers and things of that nature. Our first thought was, oh well, we know it ain't black people.
Yeah,
We
not us.
oh we, that we can no longer say that.
No,
We can no longer.
absolutely.
I tell more stories. These stories I be talking about be us. It's
Hmm.
us that's flipping out now.
Yeah, we can't say that anymore. Oh no, that's not one of them. No, I think that comes from a lot of assimilation into mainstream. You know, because there was a time, and then it's the disconnect in families and generations. Because there was a time where even if we were thinking about doing something, we would go, "Oh no, wait a minute, how's that going to affect my parents? How's that going to affect my grandparents?" You know, and but now, people don't seem to think about the impact. You know what I'm saying?
They
And
they love their parents. Let's talk about that. There's so many of them kids over there on TikTok. They so mad. I even did a video. So this guy that I follow, we're friends on there. Out of Maryland. He did a video for Father's Day, right? He got fat kids by 3 different women. He went viral, got over 1 million views on that because he did a video that said on Father's Day that he got fat kids. He's always been a present father, even though the mothers disrespect him. He never would let the mothers run him off. Um, and his kids are grown now, all of them, and he's never gotten a Father's Day gift. That went viral. I responded to that video because you can respond. And I said it before I say it again. The truth of the matter is some of these kids don't love their parents. I've heard them say it. They don't love you. So I'm the youngest of 5 girls. I've told my sisters this for years. All of our kids, but one, the youngest, of our kids amongst my siblings is a senior high school. Everybody else is grown. My daughter is she'll be a junior in college. She's the second youngest. I said these kids don't love us like we love our parents. And I ain't talking about per se my family. I'm talking about what I see. Not that kids don't love you, but they don't love you like the love I see in these younger people ain't equal to how we love our parents. It ain't. A lot of this has conditions. And I did that. I did a video last week on that. I said, these kids, if you ain't doing something for them, if you ain't in agreement with them, doing things they don't want to have any association with you.
That's
and,
right.
and it's real. It is real. I said, so
Very prevalent.
yeah, I can't buy your love, and I ain't gonna try to neither. I don't want I got it bad because it ain't love no way. And I have had that round with my daughter. I don't feel that at all with my son. I think my daughter loves me, but I think she a part of that group. It's conditional. So in order to save, and I'm okay with being honest because I ain't alone. And if my truth will help somebody else to help them identify that they ain't alone, then so be it. Because I know I ain't alone. I didn't seen it too many times. If I have to do all these things for us to get along or to be in agreement, then let's disagree. What I'm not going to do is to change me. Now, that's not to say I haven't taken the time to try to understand my daughter because she's different. Her thinking and, the world she was born into is a lot different than the world that I was. I acknowledge it. But there's still fundamental things that must exist. I am your mother. And there is a line that you cannot cross for us to maintain a healthy relationship. And a lot of these people out here I see, they have erased that line. And then all hell break loose. And then they don't understand why these kids beating them up, don't had nothing to do with them, treating them like they're nothing. You can't treat me like I'm nothing because I will disassociate with you. I will love you and leave you alone.
Yes.
I've had to do that with my daughter, and it was hard. It was hard. I cut her butt off. I quit talking to her until you come back correct. And
That's exactly where my 24-year-old and I are.
And listen, it's hard, but it is necessary. I do that because I love her, not because I don't. If I did the other, I would be ruining her. I would ruin her work. She gonna be who she regardless, because we all have choices. But but what you not gonna do is you ain't gonna change me, and you ain't gonna change the truth. And I know the truth. I lived it. And when I shut her off, it was hard. You stay prayed up about it.
Yes.
But I'm gonna stay true. I'm gonna stay true to this. I shut it down to where and I know because I know how young people are. Her little Instagram account, she do it like if somebody posts a story that you could see who look at your stories. I used to look at her. I did it purposely. I look at no stories. You have no trace of me. I'm checking up on you. Oh yeah, well, we ain't talking, but I see she looking at my stories. Nope, I took all that away. And then guess who started looking at my stories? who started looking at my stories?
She did.
And you better know it because I'm your mother. But these kids think, oh, they and some of these parents, it ain't like, oh, we without fault. Like, I have had moments to where I acknowledge, because I was a workaholic. So my kids didn't have my presence. So I paid for that. I worked a lot. But you ain't gonna penalize me because I did what I knew, and I thought I was doing the best, but there could have been better. And in that, I acknowledge that. I have grown through therapy and I've offered you therapy. And if you can't meet there, I will leave you there. Because what you're not gonna do is hold me hostage. Because I have acknowledged my wrongs and I have asked that let's work together to move forward together. And if you cannot in that, I will leave you where you stand. And what it is. You know, I know how to listen. I know how to accept my wrong, but you ain't gonna abuse, because I tell you this too, and
Huh.
be fully aware of this. Some of these kids are abusive.
Yes, they are.
They are abusive. They will wear your butt out.
I truly believe that God did not put us on this earth to be anybody's spiritual, physical, financial, or social punching bag, emotional punching bag. And like I told my son, I love you,
Hmm.
but I also love myself.
Amen. Come on,
And
tell it.
and recently he sent a text and he says he lives in another state, and I live in Cali, and
Okay.
he says and our transition came about with the start of the new year. And so we 6, 7 months into this, and he texted me out of the blue and said, Mom, I plan to return to California. He's just one state over in Nevada. And he says, in 2 years, if you're open and willing, I would like us to do family therapy together when I come, so that, the 2 or 3 issues that I have, we can talk about it. And I was so happy to hear him say the issues that he has and
Mm-hmm.
taking ownership, on it. And so some of my associates said, well, did you um, inquire why he changed his mind? Because he always said he wanted to stay in Nevada. He really likes it there. I said, no, I sent him a happy face and that emoji with the glasses that say cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I sent him. Do I still pray for him? Do I still pray over? Yes. And occasionally, God will put it on my heart to send him a prayer or Bible verses, but I don't reach out and call anymore. And, I even had the conversation with God. I said, Lord, I know I surrendered him to you, when he was born, and I prayed over him at least 3 times a day when he was in my womb. I said, I don't know when I took this boy back, but I'm re-surrendering him to you, because I felt my heart flutter. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even feel that with the massive heart attack. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I was like, this is not healthy for me, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I think, you know, and I don't know what's going to happen in 2 years. And I can honestly say that I'm hoping that I'll be receptive and open to it, but there's no guarantee, because the kind of hurt that I experienced in January and that I've been healing from to this date, I don't want to ever feel that pain again. And
Amen.
I don't care that it's my son. He's not entitled to
Exactly.
generate that kind of, discomfort. And,
Mm-hmm.
but when his condo was water damaged, he was ready to receive, because, I put him in my timeshare for 30 days until they, got everything, together. And right after that, his car got caught on fire, with him in it. Thank God he was able to pull over, and the fire department came and put it out, and it seems, I may not have it accurate, but it seems like through that episode of me being there, he went into this new phase. I don't know if having those back to back experiences had him realize that, oh, I still do need support, for mom. I don't know if it made him feel more vulnerable or exposed. I don't know. I just did it from the goodness of my heart. And I said, we made sure you had the, insurance, get that going where they can fix up the place. But and some of the checks came into me because, it's still in my name. And when the checks came in, I sent them to him. I'm like, look, you're out there. I'm not coming out there to make sure they repair the condo correctly. You have to do that. But the car I did buy for him when he was 16. And when that check came, because it was still in my name, I said, here we go. And I saw it as a blessing, because I said, when all of this is done and through, which it took us to about January, maybe February, I put everything in his name. I said, these were purchased for you.
Yep. I
I
had to.
want to, yeah, I want it in your name. So if something like this happens again, it's all on you. I'm not going to fine, the contractors. I'm not, I had you walk with me so that you can learn the process, But it seemed like as soon as he got out that crisis,
They
he,
he
yeah,
gone.
it was like, yeah, exactly. And I said, I accept that,
Yeah.
and if and when he wants to talk, and if I'm available, I will talk. But so far, neither one of us have reached out to talk. A text here and there. But and I'm cool with it. I mean, I'm so cool with it and good with it. Sometimes I scare myself. you
Yeah.
know?
I listen. I know what you mean, but it's you have to there's a piece like my sister. So I'm like I said, I'm the youngest. I got a sister above me. She called me the other day crying about her kids. They grown, and some of them ain't doing as well as she would like them to do. And she said, to have, and she got 7 kids. I only got 2. She said that to have kids that aren't doing, to have so many kids and them not to be as successful as they should be is disheartening. And I told her, I said, you got to learn how to step back. And I said, and let them figure it out. I said, your problem is you keep on. I said, number one, can't anybody tell you nothing? When somebody tell you something, you got to rebuttal. I said, sometimes just receive the information and let it apply. I said, because um, you keep stepping in. So they don't have problem solving skills. I said, let them figure it out. I said, God forbid if something happened to you, then what they going to do? I said, they're too old. Yeah, and I said, and truth of the matter is, I said, you too old now, because now she feeling like um she's she the problem solver. They call her in with a need or in the babysit, and with them kids, she got quite a few grandkids now. I said, and you better quit that. I said, because you trying to be the problem solver for everybody, and it's wearing you out. How you gonna babysit during the week and you working a full-time job?
Yeah,
It
that's a
ain't,
lot.
how you gonna do so her son's girlfriend, they got a son, and then she got pregnant again, which me and her both tried to tell him, don't get that girl pregnant again. Next thing you know, we didn't know that girl had twins that this time.
Mm,
So these last twins, so the girl, so he's black, she's Caucasian, which I don't have no problem with that. Love who you love. But
mhm,
um she wanted to be a stay-home mom, right?
mhm,
And he make pretty good money, but and like I tell my son, I don't have any grandkids, but I said no, a woman got to work. I said, you weren't born with no silver spoon in your mouth. I said, and in
mhm,
today's times it's too hard to for I said, we ain't putting that kind of stress on yourself. You
mhm,
That it doesn't make sense. You ain't wealthy, so why would she be a stay? This and my son's girlfriend, they don't have no kids. I said, she lazy. I said, you don't want no bum chick either. I said, there's no
mhm,
for her not to be working. I said, it don't make sense. I said, and what'll happen? I said, when you start that, you are creating a problem.
mhm,
Everybody got to work. And so my sister, the chick, she had them twins, um, and now, and we kept telling my nephew, I said, she got to work. And she graduated from college. She got a degree. Why ain't you?
mhm,
Why you go to school then? You know. So he started telling her, she got to work. So she decided. So this the trick right here, y'all. She work at a hospital now, right?
mhm,
Which her degree she ain't using. But now, so everybody want to be in nursing. So now she wanted, because that's where the money is. So she wanted the hospital she had. She got in a program which they willing to pay for her to, become an RN. So she was supposed to. Her kids already got daycare. He paid for that, and that's day shift. Well, she didn't. She was supposed to work days. Now she took a night shift, and if you work in hospitals, them 12-hour shifts, 7 to 7, 6 to 6,
mm,
day or night, right? This
mhm,
picked up a night shift job, y'all. And my sister worked days. So my sister get off work, and then she might have an hour before she gotta be over to their house because they, live around the corner from her. And this girl, I said, you better than me. This girl, she wait till last minute, so she sleep all day because my nephew, he drives, he owns a rig, so he on the road a lot. He made good money. He can, which he paid the bills, but still, like, she still, whether you pay the bills or not, she need to work. Um, she wait till last minute. I said, them kids, last kids probably be picked up at the daycare. She pick up them kids at the daycare in enough time. My sister get there. She ain't fed them kids nor gave them a bath. So my sister
Mm-mm.
one job going to the next job. And it ain't like, oh, you watch somebody's kids for a little while. No, you watch she gone to the next morning. So my sister,
Mhm.
you know, she got to get ready for work. And you ain't comfortable sleeping at other people's houses. Not like your own. I don't care who it is. And
That's true.
you at their house until the morning, and she don't even have a courtesy. Look, this chick don't even have a courtesy, y'all. I said at minimum, I said I wouldn't be doing it, but at minimum, them kids will be fed and bathed. All I got to do, I come over, I play with them, and then I'm gonna put them in the bed. She leaving them kids till all she doing is picking them up and then leaving everything for you to do. And so one day my sister couldn't do it, and she called her aunt. I said, I bet she presented them kids to that aunt properly. You think
Mhm.
it wasn't fed and bathed for her aunt? And if they in Alabama and that family don't like our kind. I said I couldn't have kids with that. I said, but I said I just knew it for the fact. I said, so she comes from a family that don't believe in interracial dating.
Mhm.
I said, and you think that aunt? I said, and her man. I said, I know people. For her aunt to even show up and do it, she feel like that it's a privilege for her, not the aunt. For the aunt to do it because they don't believe in interracial dating. I said, so you think she didn't present them kids on a platter? Them kids was fed and bathed and cleaned. And all that aunt had to do was come over there and sit. I said, but you the help, and she serve them to you dirty and hungry. And you ain't no young chick. Yeah, them your grandkids. I said, not that you got to be paid. I said, but I bet you she offered her aunt some money for doing it. I might not have took it, but she offered. I said I said, and you going to work late. I said, you better get together. These are truths out here.
Mhm.
That chick got to go to work, and she got to go on days. I said she ain't even being a mother now because the kids in daycare while she sleep all day. Cause she gotta sleep. She get off in the morning, so she going to bed. So she take them to daycare and then go to bed. And when she wake up and she come and get them just in enough time. Daycare closed at 6. She got to be out the house. So she say by 6:10. Her shift start at 7. When you being a mother to your kids? I said she got to get a day shift job. You can't
The
sustain.
kids, she putting it where the kids pretty much have to move around her, and her mom is enabling that. When do they have time to interact and
No,
bond? That's like,
her mother live in another city. Her mother,
oh, well, so who babysits them?
my sister. The
Oh,
the son, the kid's father's mother.
oh, okay, okay, okay.
Her aunt lives in that area,
Mm-hmm.
but she ain't like she coming over there interacting with kids. I think they won't even my sister said she noticed she took them home, I guess it's in the backwoods of Alabama, the girl to her family, and they took family pictures not long ago. The little girl looked like they color. The little boy's got a little color, a little pigment on them.
Mm-hmm.
The family rotated holding the little girl, but they won't hold the boy because he's a little too dark, I guess. You know, that's what my sister said. But I looked at the pictures and they didn't hold the boys. You know what I mean? Only
Mm-hmm.
the girl, because the girl's complexion close to theirs. But the bottom line is, so that girl used my sister up. I said, you got to talk to your son. I
Yeah,
said,
it's just the boundaries.
yeah. I said because yeah, he already talked to her and said, she got to figure it out. I said, but as long as you willing to do it, I said he ain't gonna rock the boat too tough. You know, you can't take care of them. They decided to have them kids. They got to take care of them kids. She wanted more kids. I said, and now she ain't even available. That ain't your problem. That ain't your problem. And over there, and that's why the millennials, them kids be mad now because they say, "Oh, we don't want to babysit their kids." No, we're not going to raise your kids. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not. I know I ain't. And I don't have no grandkids. But if I did, I love them. But I'm not gonna raise them. They ain't my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I'm not gonna be that woman. I will help you to where I'm capable and where it's healthy for me. But that's where it starts and stops. A lot of these people get in these situations again. A lot of illnesses happen because of relationships. Can't nobody tell me different. A lot of people develop conditions and diseases because of bad relationships that they didn't know how to walk away from. And that ain't that ain't just they lovers. That's their kids, their parents, their jobs, all of that. You got and this is how this stuff develops. I done seen a lot of people get sick. And I know it's because of bad relationships. Their mental health jacked up, their physical health deteriorate. Bad relationships. You got to put them boundaries in place. If you don't, good luck. And that's just being honest. Well, ladies, we done been on here 2 hours. I had fun. We got to do this again.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we did. You know, and this is all I've been trying to do. But see, I take breaks. I'll be going for a while and then I take breaks. But sometimes, I get taught like, that's what I said. Like if y'all got subjects, that email address is in my bio on here. Email,
Okay.
and then I'll say, we'll pick a date and say we're going live this day, and we just talk.
And I certainly enjoyed it. It's good to just hear different perspectives or even common experiences, validate some of the things that, you know,
Yeah,
I'm experiencing or contemplating. So,
and it's a lot of y'all from California. My friend Free right here. Free been with me. Free in California,
oh, okay. Hey, Free.
and then uh, Countdown Timer. He be coming through. He in California too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
New Jersey, but I'm originally from Ohio.
Okay.
My see
And what
my
about Angel?
huh?
Uh,
I was asking Angel, where's she from?
Oklahoma.
You in Oklahoma? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
But
yeah.
originally from New Mexico,
Oh, okay. I was
Albuquerque.
just there last month. My nephew graduated from Cal State San,
Okay.
New Mexico.
Yeah, New
Yeah.
Mexico.
My cousin, I can put a story, and then we're gonna get up here. Y'all wouldn't know. I got a first cousin. His wife met her in church. Come from religious families. She was an engineer in the Air Force. Real nice lady. They got married, had kids. He became a physical therapist. She was a breadwinner, though. Anyway, they moved to from Ohio to Albuquerque, New Mexico. She back in Ohio now after all these years. She retired, but he met some chick out there in Albuquerque, and he's still out there. So I ain't never visited Albuquerque, but I know my first cousin in Albuquerque.
It's definitely different. The chili is why people go. The red and green chili.
Oh,
That's what it is out there.
Mm-hmm.
got you. So yeah, and you too, Free. Like, make sure, like, if y'all got topics, and y'all want to talk about it, let's keep these conversations going. And my hope is, because you know what, this is the truth. It's a lot of us. We can identify with each other here. It's a lot
Mm-hmm.
that, and if it grows big enough, like, it's opportunities for us to really create a community. This people that have created communities where you get together and you create, like, uh, activities and adventures, things together, support,
Right.
like,
Right.
because at the end of the day, I don't care what nobody say. Everybody needs somebody,
Yeah.
and wrong with a community of women that's healing and healthy.
Uh-huh.
You know,
I call it a circle of friends.
yeah,
Definitely all right. It's great.
mm-hmm, yeah. So, pray, put that in prayer,
Yeah.
uh, and let's stay connected, ladies. I really enjoyed y'all. Let's do it again.
Great. Thank you. It's awesome for me.
Yep, me
Yeah.
too. Have a good night, Angel. I'm glad we finally met too.
Yes.
All right, take care, ladies. We'll do.
Okay.
Remember, email address. Hit me up.
Okay. Okay. Blessings to everyone.
Bless
Blessings.
you.
Bye bye.
God
Bye
bless.
bye.